over a month ago, we got our first look at Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. A trailer for the game dropped, and fans of Nickelodeon went nuts. This game is a platform fighter like Super Smash Bros. However, instead of a roster of Nintendo and video game characters, here we have Nickelodeon fighters. As a big fan of both Nickelodeon and Super Smash Bros., this game has me insanely excited. Smash Ultimate is down to just one final DLC fighter to speculate about, so this game really opened up the doors for the speculation community to have a new game to discuss and try to predict characters for. And the fighter lineup of All Star Brawl being Nickelodeon stuff was a welcome breath of fresh air as opposed to all the video game characters people have been speculating for years and years in regards to Super Smash Bros. Also, the first trailer for the game really impressed me. The specific, somewhat unexpected Nicktoons series reps chosen here, such as Nigel Thornberry, Powdered Toast Man, and Opalina, instantly set this game apart from the typical Nickelodeon game. Plus, all the attention to detail with the stages and character attacks heavily referencing the respective series, and the company behind the game having previously worked on platform fighting Smash clone games, has many people, myself included, very hopeful this game will not just be another shovelware Nickelodeon game, but rather a truly polished Nickelodeon fighter that can stand alongside Super Smash Bros. With the Nickelodeon crossover aspect and the competent developers behind this one, we are all very, very excited. There's been tons of speculation, and I've seen plenty of cool character ideas, mock rosters, stage concepts, and movesets all over the internet. People are pumped for this game. The trailer ended saying the game would release in the fall, and although I haven't seen it officially given a release date, many retailers have specified October 5th. So with just a couple of months until the game's release, I figured after the first trailer we would be hearing news like every week or something. But then we waited. And at the beginning of this month we were told, not yet, soon. So we waited some more. And then on the 16th we were told, we're making plans. So we kept waiting. And then finally earlier this week we got a teaser video for this game. Initially the teaser trailer was only out for a short time period, and then it was made private, so it seemed to have actually leaked early before the video was put back up online. This video also coincided with a Twitter account being created for the game, @NickBrawlGame, so go follow them for the latest news on this game. The Twitter account also has a banner with brand new artwork of some of the characters, but I'll talk more about that in a bit. For now, let's check out this new teaser trailer. Jellyfish Fields.
Peanut butter and jelly. Spaghetti
Nice.
and meatballs. Get ready.
Man, the detail on the stage is crazy.
Of the century.
Most iconic duo.
SpongeBob. Reptar? Alright, time out. What in the
Hey,
fucking
Reptar cereal.
Dutchman is going on here? Oh, I see. It's one of those fighting games featuring your favorites from Nickelodeon's most iconic shows.
Ooh, I think Nigel had a new stage. And I think Helga looked like it had like the boarding house or
They're gonna
something.
call for this Nickelodeon All Star Brawl.
Ooh. Okay, so 8 more?
Oh, I can't wait! This is gonna be
Gamescom Thursday, alright.
Pizza topping.
Okay, so for just a teaser trailer, there's actually a lot of sweet new stuff in there. We saw what appears to be some of the characters' taunts, a few new stages, and some other stuff which I'll talk about a bit later. We also got to look at what could be the final roster count of 22 characters, with 8 yet to be revealed, but we'll discuss that in length towards the end of this video. And this was just a teaser announcing that we'll be getting more information at the Gamescom Future Game Show this Thursday. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for me, and I will stream this one if you want to watch alongside with me. This will likely be worth watching as they promise to reveal 2 new characters there. Jeff Keighley gets all the character reveals at his shows, I guess. The teaser trailer somewhat focused on iconic duos, so potentially we could get something like Ren and Stimpy, or CatDog, or some other duo-themed character reveal. Just my guess, though. Anyway, Game Mill Entertainment posted a countdown on the official Nickelodeon All Star Brawl website for this character reveal.
21 hours, 58 minutes, and 14 seconds until you die!
Alright, so with more characters being revealed tomorrow, let's get speculating. I'm going to go over a lot of speculation here. Some of it will be older speculation to get people caught up, and some of it will be new stuff we just learned from this teaser. Plus, I'm going to talk about some rumors and speculation based on stuff the developers and people who supposedly are working on the game have said on Twitter and Discord and other places. So I'm going to be jumping around a lot, but this should get everyone caught up to where Nickelodeon All Star Brawl speculation is at going into the character reveals happening tomorrow. Okay, first off, last time I talked about the silhouettes on the box art for the game. Basically, the game's box online had the character silhouettes, and quite a few characters we haven't seen yet were discovered to be on this box. The silhouette box art has since been taken down from any retailers or official websites online for the game, but the damage was already done, and the images of the game covers are out there. Honestly, this is pretty similar to the Smash Ultimate Inkling teaser that showed a bunch of character silhouettes in front of that fiery Smash symbol. Actually, now that I think about it, for a box with the characters like this to even exist in the first place, it would mean someone had to purposefully make a silhouetted version of the normal box artwork, in a feeble attempt to hide the characters. Then when people instantly started speculating based on the silhouettes, they took down that box art and replaced it with a blank box, which someone also had to make. Kind of makes me think this all might have been done on purpose to get people speculating. Again, it's very similar to the silhouettes with Smash Ultimate. And the teaser trailer we just got also was made private very quickly after it was posted. So instead of just a teaser trailer, we got a leaked teaser trailer. Honestly feels like there's a legitimate guerrilla marketing attempt here to copy the Smash Bros. Leaks and speculation cycle. If that's the case, I tip my hat to the marketing team for this game. It's honestly working. Alright, anyway, that conspiracy theory aside, last time I was looking at the Switch version of the box, but the PS4 and Xbox boxes are actually a little wider, and you can make out the characters a bit better using those ones. And we were able to determine a good amount of who these yet-to-be-revealed characters on this box actually are. Korra, Aang, Ren and Stimpy, and CatDog. In the first trailer, we saw an avatar stage, so Aang felt like a given anyway. There was also two other silhouettes no one could figure out, but with the new banner artwork on the official Twitter site, one of these mysterious figures has been solved. This new artwork for Leonardo, in a kind of strange jumping forward pose, fits perfectly here. Also, Leo's outfit looks more like the 2012 version than the classic 80s cartoon version, so maybe there will be alt costumes. On Discord, someone who worked on the game wrote, "We almost had to use the 2012 turtles, but we're old so we wanted the classic look. So to anyone who prefers 2012, sorry about that." I don't know if there's skins or planned skins or anything. I only have very surface level knowledge about this project. I'm mostly not involved. So maybe this artwork of Leonardo was commissioned before they knew which version of Leo they'd get the green light for. Remains to be seen if there's alt costumes or what. Also worth noting, we have artwork of Danny Phantom on this banner, but it doesn't seem to line up with any of the silhouettes we have on the box. So we might get art of every fighter, not just the ones on the box art cover. Very Smash-like to do a banner at all. I hope they keep adding characters to it as more get revealed. Anyway, the other unknown character on the box art still remains a mystery. The best guesses I've heard are either April O'Neil and, shockingly, live-action Dora the Explorer. April O'Neil, we do have 3 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stages, and only 2 turtles shown so far. One of the stages has the Channel 6 building in the background, which could fit well for a possible home stage for April. However, while it could be her, I don't think the silhouette fits that well. The hair kind of works, but the shoe we can see doesn't look like her boots from the 80s show at all. The other option is Dora, which I know sounds crazy, but I'm actually on Team Dora for this one. And the more I thought about it, the more it actually kind of makes some sense. Let me explain why I think this is actually probably her. I could see the developers wanting a Nick Jr. rep in the game, sort of like how Smash Bros. Gets some weird characters, such as the retro game reps, or just oddities like Wii Fit Trainer, Game & Watch, and Rob. So let's say the team asked for a Nick Jr. character, like Steve and Blue from Blue's Clues or something. But Nickelodeon says no, because they don't want Nick Jr. characters in a fighting game for various reasons. Potentially angry parents who might accidentally buy the game for a younger child because the character is in the game and the child is a fan of it, but the parents don't even approve of like mild violence in video games. I know it's a lame reason, but legit Nickelodeon might not want Nick Jr. properties touching anything that could potentially upset parents. However, the new Dora movie was kind of an odd case, as that version of Dora wasn't really marketed at preschool-age toddlers. It was a strange movie, sort of marketed at older kids who grew up with Dora as sort of a joke movie. It was weird, and honestly, I still don't really understand who they were trying to appeal to with that one exactly, or how it even ended up getting made, but it does fill a weird niche of being a Nick Jr. character that wasn't marketed at toddlers. So Nickelodeon ends up letting them use Dora, but it has to be the live-action movie version as a compromise or something. This scenario actually makes sense to me. Whether this is how things actually played out or what actually happened here, I don't know. And while I'm on Team Dora for who this silhouette probably is, it's totally possible it's someone we haven't even guessed at. Perhaps we could find out tomorrow who this mysterious silhouette actually is. Although my guess is the two fighters they'll be revealing will probably be two characters we've already determined from the box art silhouettes, someone like Ren and Stimpy or Aang and Korra or something. Even if that's the case, it'll still be cool to actually see them in action and possibly get some more stages revealed and some new gameplay footage. If you go over and check the official website, they have this cool lineup of everyone who's been announced. Over on Twitter, Ghost Soup wrote, "Fun fact, Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, at least their website, uses code names like Smash Ultimates. Files and website. Here are the characters on the website and their code names." So once again, much like the silhouettes from the Inkling trailer, we have something right out of Super Smash Bros. Speculation. Codenames. Although codenames are honestly just practical regardless of the fact that we use them in Smash as well. So we have these codenames for all the characters on the website, and here they are. Zim is Alien, SpongeBob is Apple, probably Pineapple, Lucy is Goth, Powdered Toast Man is Hero, Reptar is Mascot, Leonardo is Moon, probably because the original 80s show started off showing the moon at the opening intro. Nigel is Narrator, because that's his job. Michelangelo is Pizza. Danny Phantom is Plasma. Lincoln Loud is Rascal. Helga is Rival. Oblina is Snake. And Patrick is Star. We don't know Sandy's codename yet. Actually, for some odd reason, her portrait isn't on the website. Although a picture of her is elsewhere on the website. I'm wondering if maybe she wasn't initially going to be revealed in that first trailer, but maybe the developers had her character further along than they anticipated and added her last minute. I don't know, that's just my guess. One thing I have heard people discussing in regards to Sandy and some of the other character choices is whether or not this game might have a gender diversity quota attached to it, specifically if the game needs to have a certain amount of male and female fighters. This is a kids game after all, and so I could see Nickelodeon wanting to appeal to both young boys and girls with a good amount of characters, and the truth is, most shows do have male leads. That's just the truth of it. Anyway, I'm not trying to get into a deep discussion on all that stuff here, but we have possibly seen a few female characters in this roster that may have been chosen over their male equivalents. For example, we have Sandy, Oblina, and Helga revealed, whereas we could have gotten Arnold instead of Helga, Ickis or Crumb instead of Oblina, and Squidward or Mr. Krabs instead of Sandy. But we didn't. Now that doesn't mean those characters I mentioned can't get in now or something, and honestly if those choices had gone the other way, we'd have a rather male-dominated roster so far. I'm just pointing out something I've seen people discussing. So I was just talking a little bit ago about how I think Dora might have been picked for this game, and now I'm talking about the possibility of there being some potential gender diversity quota stuff from Nick. So let's actually talk a bit about how these characters are actually being chosen for this game. Over on the Discord channel for the game, someone asked, did they present you guys with a list of shows that had to be in, and then were given free range from a list of various titles? Nickelodeon didn't demand any must-haves, no. Everything has been pitched to them by us and GameMill. So the characters were pitched to Nickelodeon by the team, and then I assume Nick got the final say, but didn't force them to include any specific person. So no specific characters were chosen by Nick. Now, whether or not Nick asked the team to try and make a roster that appealed to both boys and girls with the character selection, or if the team asked to appeal to both the older and younger Nickelodeon fans of different generations, or any other guidelines Nick might have given them, we don't know for sure with this one. All we know is that the team pitched fighters and Nickelodeon seemed to have the final say. So when it comes to some of the odd choices we've seen, it might not be Nick's doing at all. So let's take a look at a few of them. Helga is a somewhat odd choice. She was certainly a major Hey Arnold character, but of course, she isn't Arnold himself. Maybe she really was picked because they wanted a roster with more girls on it. And Helga is certainly one of the most well-known and recognizable female Nickelodeon characters. But she may also have been picked instead of Arnold simply because she's more of a fighter than Arnold is. Helga is tough, whereas Arnold is honestly a bit of a pacifist generally. Yeah, there's that one episode where he learns karate to get his bus pass back. I love the born yes on the bus pass. It's hilarious. But most of the time, Arnold isn't a fighter, whereas Helga definitely is one. Oblina is another somewhat odd choice, as any of the three monsters from the main trio in Our Real Monsters could have worked well here. Again, maybe it's to add another female character when they had the opportunity, but it's also possible the team simply liked her design and the moveset potential over what Ickis and Crumb could have brought to the table. Nigel Thornberry is a case where a potential female lead character was actually passed over in favor of a male side character. We got Nigel instead of Eliza. So that certainly throws a wrench in the whole idea that maybe there's a gender diversity quota going on. Seems he was picked legitimately because of his meme popularity, which is totally sweet. So on the subject of characters that might have been passed over in favor of other characters instead, let's take a look at what's going on there. Over on the Discord, this discussion happened. A few characters seem like shoo-ins due to who's already in. Haha, okay. I honestly don't think they've included anyone just to include. Well, I mean, the three I'm referring to that seem like shoo-ins are Arnold, Donnie, and Raph. No, quite the opposite. It's more like who gets to make the cut. Including someone for the memes is one thing, but we're not including everyone just because they go together with another confirmed character. So that's a really important statement. Characters aren't going to show up in this game just because another already confirmed character is here. So for example, Arnold isn't going to show up simply because Helga is in the game, and we'd expect the main character of Hey Arnold to also be included. Oblina might be the only Our Real Monsters character we get. Even the babies from Rugrats might not end up as playable fighters. I talked last time about how potentially having toddlers fighting and being beaten up might be a touchy subject, or maybe they just went with Reptar because he has a cooler moveset potential. We actually haven't seen a Rugrats stage yet, and possibly the reason they've kept it a secret could be because the babies are a major part of the stage and not playable fighters, and they want to keep that a secret still. But probably the strangest potential cut with this idea in mind could be the remaining two Ninja Turtles, Raphael and Donatello. I'm not sure there's ever been a game featuring the Turtles that didn't have all four as playable characters. Now, nothing is set in stone here. Any of the characters I mentioned could still get in, but they also aren't shoo-ins just because some of these other characters have been confirmed. So let's talk next about which characters have, in fact, actually been deconfirmed. The only thing I'll say about characters, and I think it's safe to say because it's such nothingness, we tried to get Alex Mack in, but obviously that was a no-go. Anyone remember that show? She gets doused with a barrel of toxic waste and can melt into a puddle at will. Wow, okay, so Alex Mack was attempted for but didn't work out. I assume Nick simply said no here. That is one obscure Nickelodeon show from way back in the day. Maybe they can still use Alex Sachs, the All That parody version of Alex Mack, featuring Ross Perot. Yeah, I'll get that obscure with Nickelodeon characters. Did you guys see the thumbnail I used for the last Nick video? I had Pat Sajak's son from that one episode of Rugrats where Chucky gets rich. Yeah, just try and match my obscure Nickelodeon references. I dare you. I double dare you. Anyway, Alex Mack is a live-action character, so clearly those aren't off the table here. Unless, of course, that was the whole reason why they weren't able to get Alex Mack. Maybe they can't use the rights to actual actors and actresses. This kind of adds to the likelihood that the live-action Dora might really be the mysterious character on the cover. Again, they actually did try for a live-action character, we know that. They aren't opposed to really odd out their choices either if they, again, attempted Alex Mack. Personally, I think Kel, or specifically Kel playing Ed from Good Burger, is the best live-action character choice they could make. Literally, this is my most wanted character for this game. Make it happen, guys. Okay, well, moving on. Another deconfirmed character is Gur from Invader Zim. Well, kind of deconfirmed, as Gur appears as part of Zim's moveset. They were revealed together, but the character is just being called Zim. Game Mill Entertainment confirmed Gur is not a separate character. Next up, we have characters that are in the background of stages. While this might not deconfirm them, we could have a Toon Link and Alfonso situation or something, I think it likely means they aren't going to be playable here. At least not base game. Maybe if there's DLC, they could take a background character and make them playable, but speculating DLC seems a little presumptuous at this point. Okay, so here's the characters we've seen in the background of stages. Some of the Loud House sisters have been seen on the Loud House stage. We have the Flying Dutchman on the Flying Dutchman ship stage. King Jellyfish and Gary are on the Jellyfish Field stage. Some random Real Monsters is in the Junkyard stage. Foot Soldiers are in the background of the New York Rooftop stage. And I think I see what might be Krang far in the background of the Technodrome stage. But the biggest potential deconfirmation is in the background of the Sewers stage. Someone appears to be doing a loop-de-loop on a rocket skateboard. I've heard people claiming this is either Raphael or Donatello, but looking at it, I really think it's actually Mondo Gecko. You can see the yellow shirt and the purple shorts, and he's known for his rocket skateboard. It's a little obscure, but I think it's him. Okay, so we have Alex Mack and Gur being straight up told they aren't playable fighters, and we have several background stage characters. Are there any other possible character deconfirmations out there? There are a few other things that might deconfirm some characters, but they are much more subjective. Someone asked, please just think about adding Fanboy and Chum Chum, and the response was, believe me, if we picked characters, you would see some pics. While that doesn't sound like a deconfirmation to me, the fact that they address someone asking for those characters in a kind of imagine the characters we didn't put in sort of way, I've seen some people taking that to mean Fanboy and Chum Chum aren't in. I've also seen this statement, the consolation I can offer people is a ton of emotes from niche franchises in the NASB server. And then they post 4 emotes. Now this person also straight up said, I'm not intentionally hiding hints in all of my messages. This ain't a game theory episode. But still, since they said the consolation I can offer is emotes from niche franchises in this server, specifically the use of the word consolation has some people assuming that list of emotes means those characters aren't in the game. The emotes are Vendetta from Making Fiends, Cat Scratch, Mr. Meaty, and Robot and Monster. So maybe those series are out. I'm not totally convinced myself, but they were all, of course, long shots to get in anyway. Now, one other theory I've seen proposed that could deconfirm characters involves the studio Frederator. Some people have noticed none of the Frederator Studios Nick shows are in the game yet. And maybe the studio takes an extra step to work with to get characters for or something. And so those shows are out of the running. Here's a list of their Nick shows, most notably Chalk Zone, My Life as a Teenage Robot, and Fairly Odd Parents are Frederator Studios shows. Some of the newer Nickelodeon games, such as the Kart Racer Grand Prix, didn't have any of the Frederator Nick shows in them either, adding to this theory. This is just a theory, of course, and there's some big name shows there that I really think should be in this game, specifically Fairly Odd Parents. That show was like the face of Nickelodeon alongside SpongeBob for what feels like a decade there, and it would be a tragedy not to include Fairly Odd Parent content in All Star Brawl in some form, probably playable Timmy with Cosmo and Wanda. There are some arguments against this Frederator Studio characters are out theory, of course. The predecessor to All Star Brawl, a Nickelodeon app game called Super Brawl Universe, and it's not very old either, did include Fairly Odd Parent content. Plus, a recent Nicktoon mashup digital art contest listed the legally permissible shows to use in that contest. Likely the shows Nickelodeon has easy copyright ownership claims for. And Frederator shows are on here. You can see My Life as a Teenage Robot, Fairly Odd Parents, etc. So Game Mill probably had access to any of this stuff, though we can't say that for certain. Anyway, I really hope Timmy is in the game, as that mid-era of Nickelodeon is sorely underrepresented. We have a ton of 90s stuff, and the shows of today basically boil down to SpongeBob and Loud House anyway, but they're here. But that mid-era of 2000s Nickelodeon really only has like Danny and Avatar so far. Feels like there's a time when Timmy Turner and Jimmy Neutron, the whole Timmy Jimmy Power Hour, were dominating Nickelodeon. Yet we might have another Nick game with no Fairly Odd Parents and no Jimmy Neutron, despite those series being so popular and such a major part of a huge chunk of Nickelodeon's history. Yeah, the 90s kids pandering is great. I'm a 90s kid myself, but truth is the high school or college age kids today actually grew up with the 2000s Nick stuff, and they deserve some nostalgia here as well. Also, ever notice how many Nickelodeon main characters have similar sounding names? Timmy, Jimmy, Tommy, Danny, Jenny. Like, pick a consonant, then a vowel, double up on either M or N, and end with a Y, and you got yourself a lead character for a Nicktoons show. When's Tammy getting here? Anyway, a couple other interesting things worth noting in regards to character speculation. Over on Twitter, Xbox wrote, name a better matchup, Nigel Thornberry, Helga. And then Game Mill wrote, Powdered Toast Man verse, Redacted. So there's some other character there. We know Ren and Stimpy are on the cover, so is that who Redacted is? Not sure who else fits against Powdered Toast Man as like a dream battle. Of course, Nigel versus Helga is kind of weird anyway. Maybe another superhero like the Crimson Chin or Really Really Big Man. I don't know, seems unlikely they'd add Powdered Toast Man and then pick another superhero from another show. I can't fill the whole game up with the random superheroes. Supposedly, in a private message, someone was told Doodle Bob is already in. But of course, it's a private message, so we can't confirm that it actually happened. And maybe they mean as like a stage element or as an alt costume for SpongeBob or something, if the message is real at all. Nickelodeon wrote in response to Twitch, name a character that needs to be included in Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. Can't forget about the OG Stick Stickly. And Ludosity wrote, look, we're working as fast as we can. Legit, Stick Stickly is up there with Kel for me. I would totally main Stick Stickly. And he's a perfect Game & Watch type fighter for this game. Make it happen, guys. I still remember the little jingle to write to Stick Stickly, so maybe I should send my request for the character in this game to that address and see what happens. Alright, so let's talk about those emotes on the Nick All-Star Brawl Discord, as there's a theory that the emotes on that Discord server could point to potential characters. Now, the emotes change all the time, so I'm doubtful they truly point to future characters. But there are a lot of emotes for a few certain characters we don't have yet. I will say two characters do stand out to me here, and those are Squidward and Garfield, as they seem to have a very large amount of emotes on this server. First off, Squidward seems like a great choice for another SpongeBob rep, but it's equally possible he just has a lot of emotes because he lends himself well to memes. Everyone loves Handsome Squidward. I'm partial to Handsome Mr. Bighead myself, though. The other one that's very interesting is Garfield. There's a ton of Garfield emotes, and Garfield was recently acquired by Nickelodeon, and is now part of the Nick family. This is similar to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now being Nickelodeon owned, though back in the day, they weren't. I will say Garfield fits fine as a Nick character for me personally, probably because the old Garfield and Friends show was on Nick. That's where I watched him, and probably where I was first introduced to Garfield, honestly. Anyway, the large amount of emotes on the Discord at least show the people working on the game seem to like Garfield and are accepting him as a Nickelodeon character. Speaking of that Discord, they have seen the major fan poll that is floating around online. It changes around all the time, but here's where it was at back during the beginning of this month when the Discord apparently took notice of it. I doubt there's time to add any characters from like a fan poll anyway, but maybe if there's DLC or something, a fan push could get some characters into the game. They did say they were making plans. Maybe those plans were just with Gamescom, or maybe getting the marketing ready to reveal characters slowly from here on out until the game's release. Or maybe they were getting the green light for DLC after the game got such a positive reception from fans. I do really hope the amount of attention this game is getting from fans, hopefully some good sales numbers, can lead to DLC or like a higher budget sequel or something. Let's keep this series going. Okay, next I want to discuss stages a bit. In the latest teaser, we saw some serious detail on these stages, and a few glimpses of some new stages. We got what appears to be some kind of jungle stage with Nigel. There's some luggage there as well. We got a Hillwood neighborhood stage that looks to be moving, and I've seen people guessing that maybe you fight on top of the city bus. Riding the bus was a big part of Hey Arnold. And we got this stage behind Reptar as he's showing off a bowl of Reptar cereal, which I assume is one of his taunts. The stage behind him is the harmonic convergence from The Legend of Korra. So we've now seen both an Avatar and Legend of Korra stage. We've seen both Aang and Korra as silhouettes on the box art already, so one theory is that every character will have their own unique home stage. If that theory is right, it would mean the amount of characters we will get will be less than or equal to the number of stages. And we can use the amount of stages, or which specific stages we see, to guess at how many or which specific characters we might get. While I do think it's cool every character could have their own home stage, it's a bit of a bummer that could potentially count out some cool possible stage options, like the Legend of the Hidden Temple or the Aggro Crag being stages. Oh well. Alright, so with this theory in mind, here's every stage we know of, and we have the characters that probably coincide with those respective stages. Reptar we haven't seen a stage for yet, and like I said before, I suspect it might involve the babies, so that might be why it hasn't been shown yet. They don't want to deconfirm the babies with the stage. We have Aang and Korra's stages, then we also have a third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stage, the Technodrome. So in the teaser, they highlighted Mikey in front of the Technodrome, so maybe that's his stage, but regardless, there's 2 TMNT characters, Leo and Mikey, and 3 stages. So if this home stage theory is correct, we'll be getting at least 1 more TMNT character. I put Shredder here as I think he fits the Technodrome really well. However, it's totally possible a 4th TMNT stage could happen, and the other 2 turtles, Raphael and Donatello, are in fact both playable. We'll have to wait and see on this one. I do think if this home stage theory thing is right, and there are 3 TMNT stages, they wouldn't just do 3 of the turtles and leave 1 of them out. That's weird. They'd pick some other character like Shredder. But if there are 4 stages, then there's probably all 4 turtles in the game. They just haven't revealed Raphael and Donatello yet. We've also been told that they have purposefully included legal stages for those of you who cares about tournament level play. The stage designs will be based off of classic Smash tournament stages. Battlefield, Final Destination, Pokemon Stadium without hazards, Smashville, and Smashville without hazards. Also, each of these tournament stages will be from different series, so tournaments will have a diverse look for unique matches. 4 of those have been figured out, actually. Harmonic Convergence, the Korra stage, appears to be Final Destination. Jellyfish Fields is Smashville. The New York Rooftops is Smashville without hazards. And the Armada from Invader Zim is Battlefield. Still unsure about which one is Pokemon Stadium. That might be a stage we haven't had revealed yet. We also have this statement from Best Buy that says over 20 unique themed levels. So that would fit the 22 character lineup the teaser trailer just showed us. If there were more than 25 stages or 30 stages, they probably would have said over 25 or over 30 instead of just over 20. Over 20 fits well for a 22 character roster, with every character having a home stage, if that theory's right. Game Mill, back when the first trailer dropped, said they weren't ready to reveal the final roster size yet. But we haven't heard definitively if this 22 character image is actually the full roster. It's possible this could just be what they plan to reveal before the game launches, and then leave a few more characters to unlock and surprise us. While 22 is less than I was expecting, I was hoping more like 26 to 30, 22 might be what we get here. Over on Discord, the number 22 actually came up one time. Anyways, me manifesting that we get more than 22 characters. What about 22? A little interesting 22 was responded to like that. I did read a product description that said this game would have the largest collection of Nickelodeon characters ever assembled in a fighting game, but I don't know how official that statement actually was. There was also this interview that says, and while they're obviously not ready to talk about final roster size or DLC plans, there is talk about post-release support, I'm told. So even if we get a 22 character base roster, DLC could possibly happen and bump that number up a bit. Okay, so if we do get a 22 character roster, who is going to fill the remaining 8 spots? I think we actually have a pretty good guess at who we could be getting. So let's look at some possibilities. Alright, so here's what we've been shown. 22 spots with 8 spots unknown. Again, whether this is the final roster size or just what they'll reveal before the game releases, it's not known. We can easily add what we know for sure from the silhouettes on the box art. So Aang, Korra, CatDog, and Ren and Stimpy. Unsure if Ren and Stimpy will be separate fighters or work like an Ice Climber type character. But let's say for the sake of having more reps here, they are a single duo character. Now, of course, we also have the one other mysterious box art fighter, but let's go ahead and say it really is live action Dora the Explorer and add her to the mix. We have 3 TMNT stages, so at least one more Turtles rep if we buy into that whole home stage theory thing. If it's only one more and not both the missing turtles, Raphael and Donatello, then my guess would be we'd get Shredder. He also fits really well for the Technodrome stage being a home stage. Alright, so 2 characters left. Looking at the kart racer roster, and taking into account all the series that recently got revivals, Arnold with the Jungle movie, Jim with Enter the Florpus, and Rocco with the Static Cling movie, I would say some Rocco representation will probably happen. So let's add Rocco in. Alright, so now we only have one more fighter left to fill up this 22 character image. That is if Ren and Stimpy are a duo fighter. If they're separate, well, this could be the roster right here. Dora was guessed at with the box art, and Rocco and Shredder would be the only 2 that didn't fully leak in that case. Or Ren and Stimpy could remain a duo character, but instead of Shredder, we actually do get all 4 turtles. There will be a 4th turtle stage, not just the 3 we've seen, and each turtle is actually here. Both of these possibilities are potential final roster outcomes here. But for the sake of speculating, let's go back to the scenario where we'd have 1 spot remaining and speculate who that could be if things do go down that way. There is this Goodmitten, whatever, there's this theory over on Twitter. For reasons I can't yet disclose, today I heard the correct English pronunciation of badminton for the first time. So this person works on Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, which would be something they couldn't disclose, and Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot actually uses a racket. Basically, the idea is that while building a moveset for XJ9, it could be why badminton came up and why they can't discuss it, but wanted to mention that the pronunciation is odd. So maybe the 22 characters will look like this in the end. Jenny being a robot would be a very unique fighter, especially considering Gur isn't a standalone character. And she's been winning that online poll, so she'd certainly please a lot of fans if this is the case. She's also from that 2000s era of Nickelodeon, which is sorely underrepresented, and she'd be another female character, making the male-to-female ratio here a bit less one-sided. However, XJ9 is part of the Frederator Studios group of shows, so if you subscribe to that theory that those shows aren't going to be here, then she'd be out. If that's the case, potentially Jimmy Neutron could fill in here. His show was one of the more popular Nicktoons during its time back in the 2000s, and isn't a Frederator show like My Life as a Teenage Robot or Fairly Odd Parents. But there really isn't much evidence in favor of Jimmy. Not that that means he isn't going to be here, just that there's not much for us to assume that he will be. Garfield has that massive amount of emotes on the Nick All Star Brawl Discord, and could be another character that fits for the badminton theory. I've seen Garfield shown with a racket fairly often, actually. And finally, another potential ending roster would be to separate Ren and Stimpy and add both missing turtles, Raphael and Donatello. That could finish off the roster. Not much to speculate here, but it's a possible ending for this 22 character lineup. Again, not even sure if this is the final roster size, they haven't confirmed that. 8 more characters totaling 22 might just be what they plan to reveal before the game releases. A few other things worth noting here, a few comments from some of the voice actors and creators of some of these Nickelodeon shows and characters have talked about stuff. The voice actor for Hugh Neutron is very vocal about wanting Hugh in All Star Brawl, which is pretty cool. The character certainly has a strong fan following right now. Jonan Vasquez, the creator of Invader Zim, said, "When Nickelodeon All Star Brawl comes out, I fully expect for there to be a tournament where as many creators possible of the included fighters actually do battle with one another controlling their respective creations, but that's probably too brilliant an idea." That would be awesome. Stream the creators and maybe the voice actors battling it out as the characters that they either created or voiced. I'd totally watch that. Speaking of voice actors, unfortunately, Richard Horvitz, the voice of Invader Zim, says the game will not have voice acting in it. Understandably, the game probably did not have the budget for voice acting. However, maybe with the huge fan following it's gained, maybe if the game gets a sequel or something, they could have a much bigger budget next time, or maybe DLC could add it in, and we could get character voices in a sequel or add it in as DLC if that's possible. This is the sort of polish that I think we often take for granted that Sakurai brings to Smash Bros. If this game has generic music and no voice acting, even if the gameplay and the visuals, like the stages and character animations and stuff, are absolutely fantastic, not having the sound effects, music, and voices, all those little details, will actually hurt the game quite a bit. Probably more than people realize until they actually pick it up and play for themselves. But we'll see. Again, I think we're very lucky how much care Sakurai is able to put into Super Smash Bros. And how hard it is to actually get the rights to everything involved with doing a crossover. Anyway, I'm very hopeful for the future of this series. Again, like a sequel or even DLC and stuff, especially if the fans keep supporting it so strongly. So let's keep supporting Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. Alright, well I was going to go into the ultimate Nickelodeon roster I made here, but I feel like this video has probably gone on long enough. I just made this one basically if I had like an infinite budget. Though I did try to make it with a realistic take in mind, basically trying to please the most people and represent all the different eras of Nickelodeon. So I left the live action guests to a minimum and the joke characters, there's just not too much of that. If I were to make a roster of characters that I personally would actually want to like play as and see, there'd be some crazy stuff in here. Again, the thumbnail I made for that first Nick All-Star Brawl video has obscure Nick stuff. It's basically as obscure Nickelodeon can get, and that's the Nick I like. Alright, so we're getting 2 more characters revealed tomorrow at Gamescom, Future Game Show. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Time for me, and I will stream it if you want to come watch the character reveals with me. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord.